Let's go. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Thanks for watching. I see we got a few people watching already. So, thank you for joining us on this episode of After the Cast Live. So, yep, we're doing one back to back. So, today we're doing our show that we had planned for yesterday, and this is Guy's Night Out. So, not Guy Merritt, but he'll be coming out here in a minute. But anyways, how's everybody doing out there? I see in YouTube land we have Anthony's here, Barry is here, Iris is here, and Straw Dog. What's going on? Good seeing you guys. And welcome. Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to have a pretty interesting show. Man, it's going to be kind of cool. So we have basically a new guy who's kind of on the down low that's helping out our secret mission of finding things out and sending it to us. So we actually have a guy on the street now sending us stuff. And the first thing we're going to open up with here in a little bit is a video that was put out. And I was going to originally air it yesterday and talk about it with my amigos here, but things got kind of mixed up. So we're going to do it today, regardless of whoever's talking about it or showing it or whatever the case may be. So this was our original plan yesterday. We're going to do it today. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I guess I should go ahead and tell everybody, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you do that. And give everybody a heads up about our show. And don't forget about the podcast. This is actually just kind of a side gig that we're doing that backs up our podcast. So, and speaking of that, this week we'll be interviewing Soraya Azkath from one of the most famous paranormal and UFO podcasts that got started about 10, 11 years ago. And that podcast is called Where Did the Road Go? So I'm very, very excited to have a veteran of this community and research, in which he also does a lot of paranormal ghost hunting stuff, come on the podcast this week. And that audio will be released on this weekend. So we got that coming up. Also, if you have a story and you want to let us know, you can always email us at mi.ufo.podcast@gmail.com. So make sure you do that. Here, I'll throw that ticker up so you guys can see that emailing address for a little bit. And also, if you would like to support the podcast, if you go down into the show description, you will see links for Burton, for Guy, and for our podcast store. So if there's things you want to order, t-shirts, whatever, hey, whatever you want to do to help support the podcast, buy us a cup of coffee, donate through PayPal, whatever the case may be, the choice is yours. So, and here is that URL for our store. It's miufopodcaststore.online. And that'll take you right to our store. So without further ado, I want to say a quick hello. Let me double check and see if there's any new people in here. Ba-doom, ba-doom. We got Lost in the Dark podcast. I wonder who that is. But all right, so let's go ahead and get things started here. Oh, wait a minute. Michelle's not here. That's why it's Guys Night Out. Well, this still is the podcast or the live stream that takes you down that rabbit hole on an escalator. And there she goes. That's why she's not here. No, she didn't go anywhere. She's still here. She's just hanging out doing schoolwork stuff she's got to do. So she's a little busy with that. And that's okay. She was like, you need to do a Guys Night Out. I said, perfect. Let's do it. So let's go ahead and bring on the guys, shall we? The first dude we're going to bring on here, he is the Motor City Badass of Metal. Has one of the best metal podcasts around, talking about some great bands and interviewing them. He is the Adonis of Detroit paranormal research. We all know who that person is, don't we? Of course we do. It's Burton. What's up, man?
Hello. That was quite an intro. Thank you. I forgot to introduce sound effects last night. That's
Yeah, I put together a new intro to give people time to get in here and throw a little subliminal messaging in that dark music. It was saying, click like and subscribe. Click like and subscribe. That's the subliminal messaging going on there. So
we use our own weapons against their own weapons against them, right?
that's right. That's right. Oh man, so we got somebody else we got to bring on here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got guys' night out, or I should say boys' night out, but it's guys' night out.
Guys' night out.
Yeah. So with that, let's bring on Guy. Leave me alone. I'm brushing my hair right now. My makeup person is on break. And I really dislike people so much that I wish they would put the mask mandate back in office so I don't need to see their face again. Guy Merrick.
Hey, where am I?
Ooh, you're loud, man.
I'm sorry. Well, I got this microphone so I could talk over everybody else.
Well, the kids still liked you, so
I don't know. I like the sound effects. It's cool. Am I not so loud now?
yeah, you sound great now.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, what's going on? Are you ready?
Yeah. Oh, I'm really ready for tonight. I'm excited for these stories that we're going to dig into.
Yeah. One thing I do want to point out is that this background, once again, was created by AI.
I was actually going to ask about that again because I was looking at it earlier.
Yeah. Isn't it creepy?
Another smasher.
Yes. It's like a bear dog man kind of weird thing.
And that mountain in the background, like when I first saw it, I was like, wait, is that a pyramid? Oh, wait, no. It's just a mountain. But it almost kind of has especially with the coloring, makes you feel like pyramid-y.
Hey, we got Caitlin in the house. Hey, Caitlin. Caitlin says my stepbrother told me to crash this because he's doing research for y'all. Yeah, he's our guy on the street.
I was gonna say that she just blew that big secret. So,
well, we don't know any last names around here, so we got.
That's all right.
Anthony says, "Thanks for dropping the ball." Awesome. All right, so I figured today we're gonna talk about the Tom DeLonge release of a video, which I have ready to go here, and hopefully we can hear it and it looks okay.
I haven't even heard of this one yet.
Okay, well you'll see it. I would like to get your guys' opinions on it.
And this is a video of Blink 52 or whatever it is.
Blink 182.
Blink 182.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm 1,000 years old, man. I don't know.
Blink 50 Cent.
I have no idea. I threw my radio away when the Beatles broke up.
Oh, geez. What was it? A radio or was it like a?
It was a
piece
radio.
Of stone
it
with
was a radio with a big thing that you. I don't know anything.
You had to crank it.
I like just woke up. I just watched a lot of pet possum videos today. I don't know anything about this UFO stuff, or cryptid stuff. So let's see Tom DeLonge's video.
Yeah.
All right. And then we're going to kick in. Let's kick into some, let's go ahead. We'll jump into Michigan woman calls 911 about a Chupacabra. That was covered on Coast to Coast. We're going to put that up, let you guys hear the 911. And then WDIV Channel 4 Detroit has a story about Bigfoot, and we're going to take a look at that. So see what's going on here. So first of all, let's go ahead and do this. Tom DeLonge. TSA, was it TTSA?
I think it's
to the Stars Academy.
Yeah, yep.
I think it was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, to the stars. Yep.
Yeah. So he says here, well, he said somewhere on here, like, okay, everybody, enjoy. They are real. We'll be turning real events like these into major feature films and television series to help bring the facts to the world. Note the whirling sound from the propulsion. Okay. I'm just going to say it right now. He's just looking to make money off of it. I don't think he really cares about bringing facts to the world, but you guys be the judge, and let's tear this apart. Can you guys hear it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All credit to Tom DeLong for this. I can't blow it up.
Okay. I was gonna ask if you could make it full.
I can
screen.
remove us. Okay, now listen to the sound. So there's another car parked there. It looks like it's scanning the car while it spins.
Is there a backstory with this? Like, where it
Nope.
was filmed?
Nothing.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. That kind of sucks.
He says that whooshing sound you're hearing is the propulsion of it. I'm gonna stop it there for right now, guys. What's your initial thoughts? Who
Well,
wants to go first?
do you want to go first, guy?
Not really.
Can
I guess no. I mean, I will.
I can if you want. I can.
Well,
if you
no.
want.
Yeah, go ahead because I'm.
Can you
I'll
bring
keep an eye.
bring it
What's
back
it?
up? Can you bring the video back up, Wayne?
Sure.
Go back to and go back right to the beginning.
This is it.
And then there's something I want to ask about. So obviously that's the thing that we're paying attention. Pause it right there. What is
It's
that?
hard, dude.
Do you see what's right? Yes.
Yeah. What is
What's
that?
that
I was
supposed to be?
I was
It looks
wondering
like-
too. Yeah.
It looks like some kind of a artifact of light.
Okay. See,
I don't know.
because I was like, are we looking at like is the thing in the sky like a street? Because at first we had no perspective.
Correct.
So without perspective, it's just a dot on a blank screen, and that's nothing. Then we get the car involved though later in the video with
Right.
no backstory, with nothing else. I mean, to me, it's a drone. It looks like a drone. It looks pretty small in comparison to the size of the car. Even if it's an authentic video and not computer edited,
Yep.
it just looks like a drone to me. It doesn't like with no other information. I have to go with the most logical explanation, and that seems like a lot more likely than extraterrestrial.
Right.
So
Guy, do you want to jump in?
I don't know. These kind of things, you see them from time to time. As Burton said, in the beginning, there's no perspective at all. There's nothing to. It's a light in the sky. It
It
doesn't.
looks like
like
the
a
lights are
street
hitting
light.
trees.
that
Okay.
now
Yeah.
looks
I
like
think-
it's beam
Yeah.
coming down, which is
Yeah.
something that could be created from a drone.
Well, it
easily.
could be. I mean, it doesn't really look like a drone to me, but it's just how do you look at any of these kind of videos and really arrive at at least myself, I'm like, I can't look at it without, especially no backstory at all. Like this was taken by so and so. That's a real bug of mine. I mean,
Yep.
I made my little 5-part series on YouTube 5 years ago using the name Guy Merritt because that's my name. They post crap like this with no explanation. I mean, if you haven't got the Huevos Rancheros or the Cooliones to put your name on it, I got a real problem with that. Number one, right? I mean, if you're gonna say, "Hey,
Look at the car.
yeah," I mean, listen, it's pretty wild looking, but still, why is there no explanation as to where this was taken, when it was taken? Somebody stand up, grow a spine, and if this is real, who are you, and when did this happen, and where did it happen? And I want some explanation at least. I think it's pretty weird looking, but you could do it with, I would presume. I'm not a graphic artist. I don't use Adobe Premiere and all that kind of stuff, but I would assume this could be done.
And did you see the way it disappeared like that? All they did was flip the lights off.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, how can you know? I can't arrive at anything conclusive about, is it real? Is it fake? I've never seen a video that looked quite like this, which is
That's true.
in and of itself to me is kind of a little bit of a red flag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, this is what Anthony is saying right here. He's saying my only thing about it being a drone is the horizontal rotation.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, what stinks about these kinds of analyses that we're doing, sitting here watching this, is it could be real and it could be fake. How do we know? A big help for me would be as if the person who took it would say, I took it and this is where it happened, and here's my buddy that was with me, and here we are. And it's like, man, why is everybody so afraid of?
Well, that's the thing about this one in particular, is that it's through Tom DeLonge, so it's already through another party.
That's right.
So it's not the people who had this experience coming forward. It's someone who got this video showing it. So it comes down to, I don't really know what it comes. And when I say it, to me, it looks like a joke, like, especially right there, how it's kind of like thinner, how you can clearly see the shape as it spins there. Like I've seen drones that kind of like move like that before and stuff, with lights on them, and they in a lot of paranormal videos I watch, a lot of them nowadays are sponsored, believe it or not, by flashlight companies, like really good flashlight companies, because they use them a lot in their videos. And like, I will be blown away sometimes by them standing in the forest and shining their light, and it looking like, if you were to attach that to the bottom of a drone, it would look like a tractor beam or something like that coming down, or a scanner beam or whatever, classic movie stuff. You could easily recreate that with the drone and a flashlight.
And Anthony said too.
Having said that, I'm not drawing any conclusions, and I'm not saying it's real or fake. I'm just going with what I think the most likely possibility is. But provided more information on this video, if more information comes out and we learn more about the background of it and stuff like that, my mind could easily change.
That to me is
here. Hey, Katie.
That to me,
it's my sister. Hey, Katie.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
At least family's supporting us. I mean, you did have to pay her, right? But that's the thing for me, is I want the backstory. I want to know. I want the person that filmed. It's hard. Now, here's the thing that's hard for me to swallow. With all of the stuff that's going on in the news, how many people, if they filmed that, would be terrified of, stepping forward and releasing their name, and
well,
I mean, I don't know.
I do think that, look, we've talked about it before. I do think that has gone away somewhat in more recent years, but I do think there is still that happening, for sure.
All right. So by the way, and like you guys said, all valid points, and even people in chat are saying the same thing, that, it's drones. We don't know the provenance for this. It was put up by Tom DeLonge, who's actually saying right in his text that, we're going to bring more videos to make movies and stuff like that. But what can you do with drones? And right here in Michigan, there's a company called Fireflies. And this is what you can do.
Some pretty
right up
cool
in Holly.
Stuff. Really cool stuff.
Look at this.
Wow.
They're all pre-programmed. That's what you can do with drones.
Yeah.
That's a UFO.
Those are real drones, and they do these shows.
No, that's a spaceship. I know it is.
They do a drone. They do a drone show along with the fireworks show now every year at
Yep.
Silver
Look
Bells
at that.
in Lansing.
Wow.
Every year in November. Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, those are little drones that are pre-programmed to fly around.
Yep.
And they land and
They
everything
literally
else.
like it's not even people. There's not even like a person controlling every single one of them. They're
No.
on a grid.
Yeah.
And
It's on a
they're just
computer.
pre-programmed. It's fascinating. It's really cool, isn't it? Like I love it.
It also makes figuring all of this crap out
A
virtually
little bit
impossible.
harder.
Yeah.
A little bit harder,
Yes,
right?
it does.
We could be looking at videos for the
No.
next 28 days,
Now,
24 hours
sir.
a day. Who the hell knows, you
Yeah.
know?
there are certain things though that still differentiate. Like these things are not what do you call it? Transmedial or whatever. That like they can't
Transmedium.
medium. Yeah, they can't go into water and come back out and go at supersonic speeds
yeah,
and stuff
right.
like that. So
Right.
there are still limitations. There are ways to differentiate, but
Well, and if these things shot straight into the stratosphere and, left the
yeah, they can't
know.
go into space.
right,
Like they have a range, you
Right.
know.
Right.
they can't
And they
go
have
right.
batteries. And they
but
have
it-
batteries.
Well, they
Okay,
can't go.
but I want to just
Go
throw
ahead.
this out there. Imagine having a limitless amount of money, like, I don't know, the defense departments out there, and drone technology to make nice little light shows in the sky. Imagine what kind of drones you could come up with if you put a military aspect to it.
No, that's kind of my thing though, because there is
Yeah.
it's not I don't know if it's not like a conspiracy theory or anything like that, but like I have heard people say before that like the stuff that gets released to the public, especially like there was drones before. I can't there was a good example before that, but I can't remember what it is right now. But it's like the stuff that gets released to the public is like 20 years old to the military, and they're already 20 years ahead of that in that same technology. So,
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, let's see what chat's got going on here. So Rick says, I only judge one of these craft when it can do something that is not relative to military equipment, like size compared to speed, or speed with turns beyond the abilities of the human body. That's true, but we've got drones and stuff that, I mean, obviously they take off and land on aircraft carriers by themselves with no humans in them. And
oh yeah, for sure.
So they don't need it. We could create things that could withstand the high G turns without a human inside of them. So yeah, but good point.
I mean,
And then we got Straw Dog. The video is not smooth. Don't know if it is the handheld camera or if it was bad Photoshop. I think they're trying to make it look like it's the guy holding the camera, looking around and stuff. But I mean, there's a car right there. They could be flying it, right from that car.
yeah.
So
Who knows? I mean, how do you?
and that's
Like I
it.
said, how do you reach any sort of like? You can't. I can't
no way.
reach any kind of. And there's tons of videos on this order. I mean, thousands. In documentaries and on YouTube. And I mean, I don't know what's real. How
Yeah.
can you tell? I mean, basically, you'd have to have it analyzed by, somebody on the order of Bruce Maccabee or Jim Delatosa out in Arizona, who does analyzes. Somebody that. I mean, there are things you can do, like Delatosa, for instance. He took the Phoenix Lights videos and showed. I mean, he showed that the lights were not in the spectrum of any known light source. And he did it scientifically. He's he is a guy who analyzes video, and he had this huge data bank of light source things, and you could look at them spectrally, kind of like a waveform. And he showed that the lights that showed up on that object called the Phoenix Lights, that kind of triangular shaped thing over Phoenix, that those lights were no known light source, and he could kind of demonstrate that scientifically. Like, you would have to subject that kind of video to that kind of analysis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
You'd had to prove that it was something anomalous, or to just watch it like the three of us on a live stream. Who the hell knows? I mean, it looks odd, but it could be a fake. And now that's a UFO for sure, right there,
right there.
The little airplanes. Ford. That's
Ford.
Wow.
Hey, a wrench. That's for Anthony.
That's Detroit. Yeah, this has gotta
I
be
always
Detroit.
thought Ford probably got their start in Zeta Reticuli.
Right there's a UFO.
There we go.
That is wild stuff, man.
Dearborn.
Dearborn, yeah.
That is crazy.
I have family there.
Isn't that amazing?
That is. It really is.
They're right out of Holly, Michigan. At least the last time I knew about it.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
nuts, man. Whoa, look at that.
Cool.
I know.
Yeah, the 3D stuff. Yeah.
It's so cool.
I know we
That
try to
is
keep
so
it kind
cool.
of PG, but you could scare the shit out of some people if you did that at like 3 o'clock in the morning over
you better believe
like
it.
I-75. I don't want to see one of those things like flying over the freeway.
Gosh. I don't even want to throw this out there. Oh man. But if the case is that they had it, if this is 20-year-old technology to our military and they were flying stuff around 20 years ago like this, I don't know. That feels like it throws a wrench in some things.
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean,
Damn it.
no, I don't care. Did you mean like my sighting or?
No,
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 care.
no.
I'm not
neither,
touchy about
neither
that
of
stuff.
yours.
Yeah.
No, neither of yours, because both of yours were they weren't a dot. They were
No.
a massive physical
Yeah,
object.
right.
That's
Yes.
a totally different.
Oh, I didn't know, and
Situation.
I wouldn't be upset if you said.
No,
I've
I
had
know.
I've had people ask me, do I think maybe what I saw was a projection? And I mean, no, it was a nuts and bolts thing that I could have bounced a rock off of, or it certainly appeared to be. And but no, I don't get jacked out of shape.
I don't. A projection. That's a weird. I wouldn't have ever thought of that.
Oh man, people come up with, I've had people say, I think it was a hologram. It was some sort of projection, and I'm like, dude, it was solid as a rock. It was 3-dimensional.
Have you ever had anyone say that to you, Wayne?
No, but I've done research and by some of the people that we've had on the podcast that they've been looking into these lasers that the Navy has been working on to foil radar. And what they do is they can use lasers to induce a plasma ball up in the atmosphere that can actually be picked up on radar and then moved around. And they can spoof radars that way.
Yeah,
and
that doesn't explain what either of you.
Well, that's different than what we saw. Yeah, but still, that's interesting that they can create sort of an object with a beam. That's
I don't know. I don't buy the projection idea, or the hologram. I don't. But there's something that just doesn't feel right about that.
I mean, we're at 275 and Ford Road in Canton, Michigan. Would they have projectors?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And how would this random move?
And you know what? I feel
make any sense.
I feel the same way about the thing. I mean, it's different, but you'll understand what I mean. When people say what I saw was the government flying the TR-3B, I'm like, if they've got something that advanced, would they park it 125 foot above US 23, 3 miles south of Flint?
Right.
I mean, that
near an airport.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. And I don't argue with people anymore. I'm just about out of this whole business. People have got their own friggin' opinions. That's bullshit. They're not flying the TR-3B if it exists. 125 foot above US 23. They're not going to do that. That's a crazy idea. And if you know what, if you don't know why that's crazy, I couldn't explain it to you. That is transparently, obviously, objectively ridiculous. They wouldn't do that. Thank you very much.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out. I think my dad's watching, so hi, Dad.
I'm
Awesome.
trying to teach your son how to smoke cigarettes. So,
I've already quit those.
yeah.
Went through that rigmarole. Yeah, I quit them, and you started them way later in life.
I started I
Yeah.
started right after this thing, and when I saw this UFO, it jangled my nerves. So,
Yeah.
and everybody knows my story. I swear to God, my coworkers were missing, kind of like the Travis Walton thing. I don't care who believes it anymore. Just don't give a shit. Believe what makes you happy, because that's what 99% of humanity that I run into does. They just believe
Charlie.
what makes them comfortable. They don't want things to rock their little world. I believe that people get taken, and this was a solid object. I believe Wayne saw a solid object. They're
Yep.
real, whatever they are. I don't know where they're from. I know
Yep.
what they're doing.
I would be, if someday we were to find out, in many years from now that the government had a aircraft that looks something like that, I'd be quicker to believe
might.
that is coming. I'd be quicker to believe that's coming in the future than it was a hologram.
That's
You know what I
interesting.
mean? Like I'd be quicker to believe.
Well,
that than
and
that.
listen, maybe they have a TR-3B. I just don't think the one I saw was a government, and the government may work with these other beings. I've heard this from too many people.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's true too.
maybe there was a couple Air Force guys on this thing. I don't know, but that technology I don't buy was the U.S. government, and then again too, Ed saw it the same morning, 45 miles east of where I ran into it an hour earlier, and it was being chased by F-16s. So
Exactly.
what are we chasing our own
That's right.
TR-3Bs? I mean,
Right.
That's,
I
that
mean,
is-
I could go on and on. I get no time. Michael Surratt, who's a lovely guy, and he's really put his heart and soul into studying this stuff for years and years and years. Jim Goodall says he's like his son. I was friends with him on Facebook for a couple of months, and very nice man. But I heard him say that 95% of all triangle sightings were the TR-3B, and I didn't say anything to him, but I actually had to this is juvenile. I don't do this kind of thing anymore. I unfriended him. I thought this guy, I just sense that's not true. And I don't know it at all, but I know that the thing that I saw, and I think the thing that Wayne and Michelle saw, I don't think these were government things. And, you can't convince anybody. You got to have it happen to yourself. Have your coworkers swear they got abducted, have them be missing, have two other ladies swear they got abducted 6 hours before. I'm screwed. That's what I believe.
Okay, so I'm going to put out there pretty much a picture that I found of what it was that Michelle and I saw. It's not my picture. I didn't create it. I found it out there. So whoever did it, you can take credit for it. I don't care.
You don't know who did it?
No, I just
Okay.
found it on the web, but it was a
right.
triangle craft that came the closest to what we saw. That.
Wow.
All right. And that it's an artist rendition. It's not an actual photo.
And
All right. But these lights right here were so damn bright
Yep.
that you couldn't really focus on the craft because you couldn't really get a good look at it. And as I was approaching it, we were approaching on the road from the front of this craft from this way. So it looked like 3 bright white lights in a row, which made me think, oh, it's an airliner coming down on Ford Road because they were so bright. I'm like, that thing's freaking huge.
Yep. I thought it was a cargo plane.
Yeah. I was like, it's going to crash on the damn ground. As we got closer, I could make out this body shape kind of like this, except it looked like a freaking heat mirage.
Did you said that? You said it was kind of like, what do you mean it was kind of like transparent looking, or?
Well, it looked like if you were looking at blacktop in the summertime.
Yeah.
It's like wavy.
It's wavy. I couldn't make out any details, and I got right underneath it as we were, going under kind of right at the edge of it as we were going on the expressway. Now, this thing, and I'm a trained observer, all right, and I've got my Army shirt on today, 11B, 11 Bravo, and that's one of the things that we had to learn how to do was be very good observers and be able to pick things out and pick targets and things like that, and know who to shoot and who not to, and understand all this stuff. This thing was at least 2.5 football fields aside, at least. And it was probably about 20 to 30 feet thick. But I couldn't see any patterns on it like Guy could. To me, it looked like a heat mirage.
Because of how bright the lights were.
I'm trying to find that graphic. I just mentioned Michael Surratt, and he was in I shared that in the Facebook group. He had a picture of something that looked exactly like what I saw, what Alex saw.
You had the light in the middle.
Yeah, you didn't?
I did not. This is what we saw. And then it rotated and moved parallel with us along 275. And as Anthony says here, that's a really dense populated area. Yes, it was. It was at 2:35 or so in the morning, but there were still other cars out and nobody was reacting to it. I was hauling ass.
Yeah, I know.
And
that's an odd
the lights
feature.
were so damn bright.
Yeah. Well, and think about it. You had the same thing. You know, I'm on US 23, and it's about where this thing was sitting. It was, as you approached, you came around a curve, and there's about a quarter mile straight away, maybe a half mile, and there were no leaves on the trees. The morning rush had just started a little bit. It was just about exactly 5 a.m., but there were enough cars, and nobody was even hitting their brakes, and it's 125. It's almost touching some trees. I mean,
correct.
And these lights are brilliant. It's like, I'm thinking, did they see what I was seeing? And I'm trying to find that photo of the one that I saw so you could show that, because this is what myself and Alex and Ed all saw, described, independently. Here it is. It's different. It's interesting to me that it's different than what you saw. I don't know if I can upload a picture. I don't know how this thing works. A video. No, I guess not. Slides and video file. And
send it to me in Facebook Messenger and I'll pull it up.
I thought it was worth mentioning, because it's odd to me that you guys had this crazy experience. It was a triangle, but it was kind of different. If my eyes look weird, I'm searching around trying to send you that now, but it's interesting that it was different than what you guys saw to an extent,
Hey, Zach.
Let's see if here it is. I think I just sent it
to
you.
Well, take a minute, Guy, and go ahead and find that. And I
just sent it to you on Messenger.
Okay. So I'm just going to say
that's exactly what I saw, and it was really bizarre.
Okay. I just want to say a quick hello to Sky Pilot, who has joined us, brought up the TR3B, and Zach Diecast Mansour, who is joining us. So watching from the shower, he says. All right. Hey, if you got to watch from the shower, you got to watch from the shower, man. And it looks like we got Intergalactic Overhaul has joined us on YouTube. Hey. So, hey, man, thanks for joining. So, yeah. And you just sent it to me. So let me go ahead and find that. Yes. Okay. All right. Let me get this ready. I have a real problem with the TR3B thing.
It might be real. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know. But the thing is, I think what I was trying to stress, and I wasn't picking on Michael Surratt, who's a very nice guy, done a lot of great work. I just don't think that's what I saw. And it was right above my head, like right above my head.
You had that red light in the middle and you could see the texture.
Yep. That. When I saw that in a documentary, I grabbed a screenshot. I just about passed out. That's exactly what it looked like. And it was, like I said, almost touching the trees. So I'm thinking it was 125 foot in the air, and it was huge. Well, not huge. It was probably, I've gone out there and looked at that grove of trees. It was probably close to 300 foot on each side. And, but I don't know, their intergalactic overhaul. I had mentioned earlier, I don't know if you were here, that Michael Surratt said 95% of triangle sightings were this TR3B. I don't think it's what I saw anyway. I don't think it's what Wayne saw. So
if we had a craft like that, and I'm not saying we don't, but I'm just thinking that if we did, there's no way they would fly it and test it over highly populated areas.
IKEA down
Period.
on Ford Road or something.
Right. No.
Yeah. Well, it's like
There's no way.
Yeah, US 23 just south of Flint. At that time, there was 200,000 people in Flint. That was a busy road. You wouldn't risk doing that, man. I don't believe it.
And I've looked at the stuff that's up there about the TR3B and who put it up there, you know, the patents or whatever, and it's garbage. I hate to say it, it's trash.
Well, now why do you explain to me
because of the
I don't know.
the supposed formulas and things that they use to talk about the propulsion and stuff. It's never been proven out. And so you figure how the stealth bomber and the stealth fighter crashed, the SR-71 crashed, all of our test craft have crashed. They would not be driving, or I'm sorry, they would not be flying
it, driving it, whatever,
over populated areas.
Well, that's what
let people see it.
That's exactly what I said earlier.
Yeah.
Is like, well, the answer that people come back with is the government's doing fake abductions to scare people. It's for myself, the explanations for its existence and for it was 300 foot sound like what I saw. No, sound float like a feather. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, the explanations typically what I hear most often is the government's doing fake abductions to scare the shit out of people. I find that crazier than possible aliens coming here tinkering with us. And that's just me. I'm not saying that's how it is, and I'm right. I just find that really implausible. And we've got this stuff anyway.
Burton, last words on this UFO thing.
I was trying to find a video I saw recently, but I couldn't find it. Last words, honestly, it's I kind of agree with what everybody's saying right now. I don't really think it's the government. I don't think what you guys. I don't think what either of you guys saw was a projection. I think it was a physical craft.
Yeah.
There are not just your case, but there are many very real, like plausible, like from very people I trust, of cases where they saw something, whether it be a triangle or not, being chased by fighter pilots. A lot of this stuff is reported over government installations, and I don't like. Yeah, you could say that's them testing it, or it's something checking up on what's going on there.
See, it's like it's like Sky Pilot saying here. I know he's a big proponent of the TR3B and that it's our advanced tech, and I'm all for that, but I'm telling you that if they were flying within the airspace of Bishop International Airport south of Flint, where Guy saw his huge craft, and we were about 18 to 20 miles north of Detroit Metro Airport, and the things hovering over the road, there's no way they would. They have protocols to follow. They cannot fly test craft or special craft of any kind like that over populated civilian areas.
And why on earth would they take that chance?
They have,
even if they were willing to violate some, some no-fly thing. It's just what would be the point in it?
Area 51 is the stereotypical place to go, but you think they don't have a lot more vast open airspace and bases in other places that they can test this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Where no one on earth would ever see it because there's nothing out there but fucking coyotes and rattlesnakes. Like,
yeah, right. Well, that's again the question is what on earth? There's the risk, and what would be the point of it? I mean, just
right. What's
you
the point? When you have all that,
what?
And
you can somehow come up with an explanation for why they would fly them there. There isn't any.
A craft that large would have to be able to fly there and get back without landing. Otherwise, they would have had to have transported it here. So there's a lot of logistics involved here.
Yes. Yeah. There is. And think about the manpower that you need to create something like that, and nobody's spilled the beans. Not one single person.
Well,
Now,
Ed Fouché, and there are people that say they've spilled the beans, and I think
Yeah.
some of them are. Well, you know what's funny? Ed Fouché comes across to me as a very honest guy. Maybe he's not. He's dead now, but you know, he could have been fed disinformation. I mean, I think it's a disinformation
And
thing.
now-
And maybe I'm no authority. Maybe I'm dead wrong. I have trouble, and I believe.
Flag on the play, guy. Flag on the play.
Stop that shit now. I'm old, man. You're scaring me. You're waking me up too. You know, I was just starting to dream. No, seriously, I think Jim Goodall believes in the TR3B. A lot of people do.
Hey.
Michael Sherrod thinks 95% of the things we see that are triangular are the TR3B. I struggle with that. You know?
All right, let's take a quick look, and I want you to jump back in, Burton, because we've interrupted you a couple times. But Rick says, if you think that a super intelligent civilization travels millions of miles and do not make contact, don't you think that would be a super waste of time? You would have to be completely stupid. And then Zach says TR3B junk is for noobs to the UFO subject. In my eyes, that crap was debunked years ago. Triangles people are seeing out there aren't ours, to the end, period. So
fair enough.
I tend to agree. I mean, you know, it's tough because a guy like Jim Goodall believes in, I think he believes in the TR3B. I know Michael Sherrod does. I sure as hell don't think 95% of triangles are the TR3B. And I'm not sure the TR3B, as the gentleman just said, who you took his name off,
Sky Pilot.
I'm not sure that they even exist. I'm not sold.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. If they would roll out the B-2 bomber and the new B-2 bomber and things like that to show people that thing, if they actually had a TR-3B, man, these guys would be whipping it out like, the tall man in the
wouldn't we rule the planet too? I mean, wouldn't we own this globe?
Well,
do you think we could have grabbed that balloon then?
Yeah, no
shit. Couldn't that same argument be made because we have nuclear bombs?
Yeah.
But but the TR-3B, would that even be as big as what you guys saw? Right. Okay. So that rules it out right there, right? Like,
I mean, the propulsion system and the amount of energy they would have to generate.
Well, what if what we can find about the propulsion system was just crap they put out to throw people off? Who knows? If you want to get real deep into it, but but if it's not even ever as big as what you guys report, like then it rules it out right there for me. Like, because what you guys saw was gigantic and
real big.
That's just one of the biggest factors for me. The size of it is what it's like. Every single time I try to come up with a plausible explanation, it's like, no, it's too big.
Well,
like,
in defense of the gentleman in the chat, I mean, listen, a lot of people who I respect believe this TR-3B thing, and I certainly don't know. I don't really believe it. All right, and like I said, I could be wrong. I mean, I don't get religious about this stuff. I'm not married to, this is the way it is and I'm right. There's a lot of reasons that it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And they probably have way cooler stuff by now anyway.
Yep.
Well, I don't know.
If there's probably ever an expert that's probably on this TR-3B thing, and I've seen Sky Pilot talk about this before, it probably is Sky Pilot. I'll give him that. He knows his stuff. He's gone down that rabbit hole about the TR-3B.
A lot of people believe it. Listen, a lot of people that are smart and study this absolutely believe it.
But my thing is that they would never ever fly it and pilot it and leave it hover over roads and densely populated areas, especially if it's a secret weapon. They don't want nobody to see it.
And that's it. You've got to explain that. You've got to explain that to people like Wayne and me and Michelle and Ed and Alex that saw these things right over our heads.
Yeah.
And in populated place. Well, Ed was kind of in a remote area, but you've got to explain why they would be flying these over interstate freeways at like 100 to 150 feet in the air, parking them. I mean,
yeah. And I've never heard a good explanation for that.
There you
go.
go. Yeah, me neither.
So
I can't
even
think of
even if they broke the science, if they figured it out and they figured out all this stuff. Okay, now give me a reason why you are showing this off to certain people at certain times, and why do some people see them plain as day and freak out, and other people don't?
Well, the thing is, people aren't going to believe. I think you're absolutely right. I think it's what happened in your case. I think it's what happened in my case. But people listening to a podcast who have never had this experience, a lot of them are going to reject. They're going to say, "Yeah, that can't be," because I even said that can't be for a long time after it happened. And finally, I came to this thing where I had to accept the fact that there is no way, because the thing that I saw was two ladies who swear they got abducted at 10 o'clock the night before, saw it at 10 o'clock the night before at the same spot, straddling both lanes of the freeway. There would have been so much traffic on US 23 at that time that there's no way it wouldn't have been in the paper. Obviously, they could see it and other people couldn't. I'm sorry. People aren't going to buy it, Wayne, but it's true.
No, that is one that's actually a factor of experiences that I had never heard of before in all of my research and everything until I heard Wayne's story and then subsequently all of the rest of the stories like yours guys and everybody else that has had the same experience where they're driving on the freeway, they see this thing, they're freaking out and they're looking around at other cars on the freeway and nobody else seems to be reacting. And it's like, wait, what? Like that is an element to these experiences that I don't think a lot, it's just not something that a lot of people realize, or like
I didn't
maybe a lot of reporters of these experiences don't think to mention something like that. You know what I mean? But you guys did, and then you've had more people on your show that I've heard say this, and it's kind of like discovering like the missing 411 stuff for me, because it's like like a new aspect. It's a new part of the mystery that is I think is just now recently getting brought to light.
I've got a video. I've got a piece of video I would love to share, and it says in the little back room of this thing that you can share it, but I'd have to find it. But it's a very short thing, and I cut it out of a documentary, and it's this Canadian gal who's had multiple sightings. She's sitting in the middle of the day. She's sitting at an intersection, and she says, "I'm sitting at this intersection, and I'm looking around, and here's this disc above the intersection, and I'm looking at these other cars going, is anybody else seeing this?" It's a common thing, and I didn't know it either. It's real common. And, it sounds so far out. If you haven't had one of these experiences, you're never going to friggin' believe it.
Now, there are ways, I think, I don't know what they are, but I feel like there would be ways to scientifically explain something like that. You know what I mean? I feel like that could be something visiting, and we could come up with the nuts and bolts answer if we knew enough about, camouflage.
Well, it's out.
Check this out.
I want to see if I can find that video. It's crazy. It's such a great illustration. I found a ton of videos that talk about after this
USTR-3B Aurora anti-gravity spacecraft in night vision.
Yeah.
Really?
Maybe.
See, now the one that we saw, Michelle swears that on the back, quote unquote, side of it were things like this.
Like those little vent things I just saw a few frames ago. Yeah, I saw
that. How they keep on going out of focus and moving the camera around. There's no neat reason for it. It's come on. Seriously.
And there's fins on it too on the top.
Right.
See, that actually does look have from that angle right there. It
It looks like a stealth aircraft. Yeah, it does.
Now I could see this being some kind of again, there's no size relation. I can't tell how big it is, but
Right.
That looks like it could be a type of a drone, and maybe they just had lights on and there's buzzing things underneath, or maybe there was a new type of propulsion system they were trying out, but ultimately found it to not work. You know what I mean? But it was still experimental.
The government could be running with something like this and feeding information to, feeding information to reporters and putting videos out there to cover up their stealth program.
I have no idea how this
sure.
thing works, but I just tried to upload. It's like a 1-minute snippet. I don't know if you can play that.
Wake up one day and it's completely gone. And those are kind of the things that have been happening. I will be driving and it will be broad daylight, and I'll look up and something's hovering over my car, and I'll be looking around going, okay, I'm in traffic. There's a lane here. There's a lane here. We're all stopped at the light. Why am I the only one seeing this? There are flashing lights on this thing, very, very colorful. How am I the only one who is seeing this? And I remember calling my ex, who isn't into this at all, but I was so terrified. I just called him up. I'm like, have you heard anything about UFO things or whatever? And he had said at the time, actually, I heard something was happening in Montreal. And this was probably about 7 years ago when this started happening. So now.
But anyway, that illustrates what we were talking about. This is, I've heard Bud Hopkins talk about it at length. In many cases, there'll be 8 people on a beach. There'll be a craft hovering out, 200 yards over the water, and 3 or 4 people will be freaking out going, oh my God, what is that? And the other 3 or 4 people will be going,
she had nice hair.
Yeah, she's a Canuck. We love the Canucks. I love Canucks. But yeah, I've got a hard drive, but that's pretty neat that I could share that in the back room of this little thing. And I've got snippets to, because I was so confused after this happened that I was the only one even slowing down. We're talking, there should have been total chaos on that freeway. So when people say, oh, it's the TR-3B, it's the government, I'm like, man, then we got some insane shit, and we're flying it in places that make no sense, and they're doing fake abductions. If my coworkers aren't lying, and 2 other ladies aren't lying that worked at another factory 6 hours before, and I just can't make the TR-3B thing work, and yet a lot of people believe it. So,
Guy, it's like you say, and you and I have had this conversation so many times, and we always come to the same freaking conclusion, and that is, who the hell would make up these kind of crazy stories just for the hell of it?
Yeah, for what?
For what? To what purpose?
There's none.
If somebody has known you for 5 years, you've been friends, talking, yada, yada, gone out to dinner together, whatever. And then just one day they decide to wake up and I'm going to tell everybody I was abducted by aliens or I saw a craft because that's the thing to do.
Well, it's hard because before this happened to me, I was fairly open-minded, but I didn't have a lot of interest in it. And my attitude was always, you can't prove it. And I think at the end of the day, that's the deal, is that this stuff is so
later, Rick.
Take it easy, Rick. It's so far advanced. People aren't just not going to buy it. What I see in all of these UFO groups and these streams, and people just, what's that joke line? I'm not going to say it's aliens, but it's aliens.
Yeah.
It's like people just can't accept this. They've got to find some. Well, it's kind of like you're going to believe your lying eyes. In this case, of course, it's not their eyes. But, this many people are not lying. I'm not lying. You're not lying. Michelle's not lying. Ed's not lying. Alex isn't lying. A million other people are not lying.
Alex, and for people that don't know, when we keep on bringing up these people's names like Alex and Ed, these were people that I've interviewed. We did a roundtable talking about this craft because all of us have seen this in the month of March, but different years. And Alex was one of the people that saw that was probably one of the most straightforward, humble
Yep.
people I ever talked to, and probably one of the ones that was the most emotionally traumatized
Yeah.
by what had happened.
Yeah. He's
I
had a
mean,
bad time with
literally,
it.
no,
That's-
no red-blooded American male out in Adrian, I think he was, is going to make something up like this and then
No.
come on a podcast
No.
and lose it,
Ver-
and have to take a break. Guy, you went through the same thing when we were talking about it.
It was hard, man. It was.
Yeah.
I'm fine now. When I can do it now, but the
Yeah.
first few podcasts I was asked to be on, I'd go through it and I know how I'd listen to myself. I know how batshit crazy it sounds. I'd kind of relive it, and it was scary, man. It was
Yeah.
really scary.
Well, Zach
And-
here says,
Yeah, I was
well,
reading
wait
that.
till
That's great.
yeah, I want to read this. So it says, wait till you all hear my story. Oh,
Yeah.
please, man. My friend and I
Yeah, I
witnessed
wanna
the
hear it.
same thing at the same time, but we both saw something completely different from one another.
I've
What
heard of
is
it.
that, man?
I've heard of that before. I've heard of that too. I've heard
Yes.
that, but I'd love to hear your
Plenty
stories.
of
Zach.
stories. Absolutely, dude. Email us, man. Email
be-
us.
and also-
mi.ufo.podcast@gmail.com.
and be sure to like say like when and where it happened too.
Yes.
Like yeah, that stuff's important too.
Yeah, I remember Zach was. I think he was in last night and said he'd had a sighting, and he writes well, as as we say in psychology. He presents well. Sounds like a sane guy. I'd love to hear your story, Zach. Please share it with us via email or something. Because it helped. I mean this very sincerely. It actually helps me, and I'm sure it helps Wayne. It helps anybody who's had this happen to. It's odd stuff, and we'll believe you.
And I want to put this out there because I haven't talked about this in a little bit. And I just want to make sure people understand where Michelle and I are coming from when we have started this podcast. Not only are we trying to collect people's stories and have them tell their story and have it help them by putting it out there to the world in a safe environment where we're not going to be really hard on people. We're going to ask some tough questions if we need to, but we're not out to debunk or ridicule anybody. Okay, that's first and foremost. The second thing is that these people and people out there have been having experiences, and we're listened to by probably about 40,000 people on our audio podcast. So if other people hear your story, they can say, dude, me too, man. All right. So there's other people out there like me. I can deal with this. Right.
Yep.
So something's going on. And that's always been my point. And why would a 300-foot triangle hover over Ford Road, basically like downtown Canton, and show itself to me, which is a Earth and space science teacher.
Right. Exactly.
I am a science teacher. I'm a scientist. I study astronomy. I study how the Earth works. Michelle is an English teacher and has been teaching English and stuff for 24 years. Why would that thing show itself to us? And why would I hear in my head this voice? It wasn't my voice. It was some other voice that said, you don't belong here. Get out, get away, or something to that effect. And I had every instinct in me to run, like something was pushed
right
to get away, or get away. You don't belong here. Get away. And dude, I'm telling you, something is going on. And of course, all of these triangles in Michigan are hitting in March. That's where we get the big spike. And I know I can't confirm that with data because a lot of people don't report their sightings.
Yep.
But from the talking and the input from our Facebook group and like Guy and Alex and Ed, it's ridiculous to sit there and say, no, these things don't happen a lot in March or in the spring. They do. So anyways, that's kind of our whole point here.
I'm curious. Can I ask a question? Zach, where are you located? If you don't mind, I don't mean you're your home address, but I mean, you know, like
Right.
you in the States, or you in what state are you in, or can
Yeah.
you
So
tell
Zach,
us?
type in
Come
where
on,
are you
Jack.
located?
Come on, Jack.
Yeah,
Just wondering. Um,
wrong one. So this is a great question.
yeah, I don't know.
Intergalactic had asked it. All right. So
Oklahoma. Okay.
Oklahoma. Interesting. Well. All right, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know what's funny. The people that have really had these experiences, most of them kind of go, seriously, most of us think it's some other life form, you know, aliens. I don't like that word, but you know, and then there's people that are just interested in this stuff and follow it. And I've noticed that they tend to almost, pardon my language, kind of get the ass. They don't want to hear that. They really want, they're interested, but they're desperate to ascribe this stuff, to chalk it all up to humans on Earth, and they don't want to hear that it's aliens. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear it. Because it's too that's just a pop culture crazy. No, it's us, and as we get this advanced stuff, and yeah, well, you know what, you see one, you have your friends get abducted, you have a blue light beam your house and paralyze you, which happened to me. All right, you have that happen and come back and tell me it's the U.S. government, because I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all.
Okay. So,
we're getting into it now.
yeah, let's do this. Let's switch gears here. So, big shout out to Coast to Coast, of course. Everybody loves Coast to Coast.
Huge fan.
Of course. Let me zoom in here a little bit. About the best I can do. So,
This is
Michigan, yeah. So Michigan has had a couple recent run-ins with some cryptids. And Burton, this is like right up your alley, and why I wanted to bring this up. But it says here, police in Michigan responded to a rather unusual call this weekend after a concerned resident reported seeing a chupacabra. According to a local media report, the strange incident occurred this past Wednesday evening. So this was on February 3rd of this month. So
2 days ago.
Not too long ago.
Yeah.
When a woman in the county of Jerome Township phoned 911 claiming that the infamous cryptid was lurking outside her home, and as if that were not odd enough, the creature was accompanied by a capybara, which is one of those big, gigantic, like cool looking groundhog rats from, what is that, like Australia? They're very interesting.
Oh, yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Despite the wholesale weirdness of the call, or perhaps because of it, police were dispatched to investigate the report of a blood-sucking chupacabra and its docile rodent companion roaming around the area. All right, so let's listen to this.
Central 5147. You got the call. 5147. Woodview Village Apartments. Going to make contact with April. Wishes to report an animal of action believed to possibly be a chupacabra. 5147. Here you go again. What's the animal? A chupacabra, sir. She described. Turn around. 2147. There's been a high amount of sightings for those in that area lately.
Oh,
by the way.
And there it was. Notice how they slipped that in at the end there.
A high amount of sightings for those in that area lately.
Is there anything in the article that actually says what she described? Besides seeing a chupacabra with another non-native Michigan animal.
She said she was coming off of using some intoxicated substances.
Okay.
So, and when the woman was asked why she might have thought that she had seen the creature, she said she was coming off using some intoxicated substances. Besides that revelation, the woman did not get into any trouble for making a misguided call to 911. But
And it
Okay.
also doesn't list what substances.
no.
No.
So, but here's what I find really interesting is that last part where it says there's been a lot of sightings.
Reports.
Yeah.
Now, okay. Well, I have personally, and let me think.
Hi,
for
Diane.
Just a moment. Hi, Diane. I don't believe I have ever heard in any of my research a Chupacabra sighting in Michigan. So that would lead me to believe that they were saying something else for sure. I just like I would like to know what the other sightings were in the area, because if she is it sounds like she was basically admitting, yeah, I was probably just messed up on something and was having a fun night and made a illegitimate report.
But she wasn't the only one,
but
man.
She apparently wasn't the only one, and I haven't heard of any of this. Now, typically, Chupacabra sightings involve small, relatively canid but bipedal creatures, typically with red eyes, but they're small. Now, another cryptid that we have here in Michigan is the Dogman.
It's the dog
And
man.
If they exist, they are bipedal canid creatures with typically not usually reported red eye shine, but yellow. And if they exist, they would have to have pups. So, I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard of any other of the. I'm just throwing stuff at the wind, but it just I haven't heard of any of these other reports. This is the first I'm hearing of it. So,
Well, it made
don't know.
the Coast to Coast website, man, and
Yeah.
my first thought was a Dogman sighting is what it really was.
Or maybe it was just a slow news week.
Yeah,
That
that could be too. But I want to know what everybody else was seeing out there.
I
man.
know that's kind of what I'm a lot more curious about.
Maybe it was the TR3P, a small one. I don't know what that means.
I mean, frankly, even if she was just having a fun night, she could have still seen something.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean it's not possible. Like it
Right.
just, yeah, I don't know. That's an odd one. I would hope that hopefully Coast goes a little bit deeper into that and sees
just
what
on
those
that
other
general
reports were.
topic of she was having a fun night. I think I've said this before. I had a UFO researcher say to me one time, he said, you don't drink 3 beers and see spaceships. You see spaceships and go drink 3 beers. So
Yeah. Yes.
There you go. And I think that's a good place to. What do you guys think? Do we say thumbs down on this story and go on to the next?
it reminds me of the video you played at the top.
I don't
Who
know
knows?
yeah. It's just kind of. It seems like she wrote herself off in the end, but ultimately, maybe that, like earlier we were talking about how like people have a hard time reporting this kind, and I think in this current climate, it's a lot harder still to report a cryptid sighting than a UFO sighting. I think a lot more people are a lot more accepting of a UFO sighting nowadays than a cryptid sighting, and
I don't know.
All right, so I'm gonna say that one we're gonna get rid of and throw a flag on that play.
I'm gonna throw middle thumb, middle thumb, not thumbs up, not thumbs down.
Okay, so just kind of all right.
Yards.
I'm hoping for future evidence. That's what that is. Yeah.
Holding
Yeah,
10
no
yards.
footprints. Come on, man.
I want to know what the other reports are.
Yeah, you'd
All right.
have to. I mean, something like that. You'd have to have. Like that's a great point. Footprints. You'd have to have some evidence to back it up.
Yeah. All right, so let's go on to our next story about Michigan believers hunting Bigfoot. So this is WDIV Detroit. Now I started playing the video, and then I had to stop because, well, it starts with a lot of the silliness. They are back to, and by the way, this was what, February 3rd. The media is now getting back into playing Fox Mulder and X-Files stuff. And, you know, I didn't want to play that, but this is a picture that was taken by somebody.
There's a whole fleet of them.
Oh,
UFOs, aliens, ghosts.
This is what I'm talking about.
A little montage.
Yeah. There you go. The
I
truth
saw
is
that.
out there. Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I saw that. I watched part of it.
So
yeah.
here you go.
And even possible close encounters.
We just did a private expedition in the same area and had a 7 to 8 foot tall figure through a thermal imager checking us out. As we walked closer to it, one of us got within 20 feet of it and didn't realize it was there until it took off running down the hill.
Then you have viral videos like this one, which have captivated both skeptics and believers. Reportedly taken last year, millions have watched
I don't buy that one.
the video that shows someone
kinda
or
fake.
something walking across Michigan's Cass River.
Now,
So what is it? Depends who you ask.
It looks like a
Some
ghillie
people have
suit.
decided it's definitely a Bigfoot and it has a baby that it's carrying and you can see different shadow lines on it. There's other people that it's a guy in.
Really? It looks like a hood.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Who knows?
I don't. Yeah. No. Well, you know. Okay.
All right, let's take a quick look at the story. So it says Bigfoot is alive and well in Michigan, the mythos of Bigfoot. I recently stumbled, so this recent person is the writer Ian Vickers, I'm guessing. I recently stumbled upon a TikTok page of a Michigan man who says he's exchanging gifts with a mysterious creature which he thinks could be the elusive Sasquatch.
Is a common story. Not common, but I've heard stories like that before.
Okay.
Of people doing that.
Didn't want to really reveal where in Michigan he lives, but he says it's in the upper lower peninsula, so probably up near Petoskey and Charlevoix and things like that. For nearly 2 years. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say probably definitely upper lower peninsula would be somewhere in one of the Manistee National Forest, or the other one that's I forget the name of the other one, but yeah.
Before I dig more into this though, Burton, wasn't it when you and Aaron were on our podcast, weren't you up north somewhere and there were statues of Bigfoot everywhere?
No, the first time that I was on your podcast, that Aaron and I were on your podcast, we were up north at in Mackinac City, and there is the last time I was there, at least there was a statue of Bigfoot in front of a store, but the store was no longer open, so I'm hoping it's still there, but who knows? I haven't been up there in a couple years now, but yes, that is all true. Yes.
But so, there's a statue of Paul Bunyan in like Harrison or something, you know?
Yes, there is. Yeah, a big that one's much bigger than the one of Bigfoot. The Bigfoot one was
have you seen that?
Like only like 10 or 11 feet tall. The Paul Bunyan one's like 30 feet tall.
Yeah,
like that thing.
Saw it when I was a kid.
It was just odd though that you were telling us that there were Bigfoot, or at least a Bigfoot statue up there where Michigan's famous for the dog man, not
Oh well. See, that's the thing, though, is that because that's the thing is like it's when you go up north in Michigan to a lot of the small towns and stuff, a lot of them are just little gift shops, and that's what a lot of like the main streets are and stuff like that, and a lot of those gift shops just seem to have just totally adapted the whole Bigfoot thing. And there's just a lot of t-shirts, mugs, shot glasses, like everything, magnets, soaps, anything you can think of that car air fresheners, anything you can think of that can be like put to Bigfoot, like that they'll do it. Like anywhere, as far north as Frankenmuth, which really isn't even that far north for us, I don't think.
No.
So every gift shop you go to up there has a little Bigfoot section of some kind or another.
A little Bigfoot.
Yeah. And that just continues the farther you go north. But the whole Dogman thing hasn't really been adopted in the popular culture in that way as much, at least in my experience. Outside of, I will give a shout out to in Leelanau County, Michigan, the Northern Latitudes Distillery. They embrace it fully, to the point where they have the Michigan Dogman Moonshine, and they sell bottles of it. It's fantastic, and they do also sell T-shirts and hats and stuff like that, and magnets and all sorts of things. But they do sell bottles in the Michigan Dogman Moonshine, and it's actually, if you're ever up there, it is a wonderful distillery to go to. Everyone there is very, very kind. I've been in there like 3 times now, and I think every time I've been in there, it's been the same people, and they've always been very, very kind. And as soon as you walk in, you get like a free tasting right away, and it's just a really wonderful place to check out. So I highly recommend checking that out if you're.
Diane says we have a Bigfoot shop here in Forks, Washington. Oh man, Bigfoot's huge in Washington.
Yeah. I can't remember. Is it Washington or Colorado where Mount Hood is?
Washington.
Oh, no, it's Washington.
That's like,
yeah,
that's central. That's Bigfoot Central right there.
Isn't that where? Isn't Washington where that famous footage was shot, or
the Patterson video?
Patterson Gimlet?
I believe so.
Yep.
Or Oregon, Washington, yeah.
Oregon, yeah, something like that. Yeah,
I think it was. I don't know.
Yeah, Barry says there are a couple very well documented sightings of Bigfoot. And what about the Johnson tape? I'm not familiar with the Johnson tape. Hey, Jamie, welcome.
Oregon. Mount Hood is in Oregon.
Yep.
Oh, Oregon. Okay. I know it's on the West Coast because
we were in the right country, in the right continent, but we all got it wrong.
Well, it's the same chain of basic volcanic mountains over there. Yeah. Thanks for that, Jamie. Thanks for stopping by too, man. We really appreciate you coming by. I'm gonna fast forward through this article and just get down to the bottom because I like this part. It says, now if you're wondering if I believe in Bigfoot, I would say that answer is complicated. And if you're wondering if I believe the people I interviewed, I would say I believe they believe in their experiences with the mythical beast. Judge it for yourself. All right.
My computer is running too slow right now, and I don't know the right words to search the video. The next time I see it, because it pops up for me once in a while on social media, there is this one video that has been going around for a while where someone filmed it somewhere in like somewhere in the South in eastern United States, like Alabama, somewhere in there, like somewhere in that region. And it's shot like someone came up to it from it was from behind, like it was filming the creature from behind, and it seemed like it was like kind of sitting down and picking like bark off a tree.
Yeah. Yep.
You seen this one?
It was to give a shout out to Richie over at Goofon. He had played this a couple nights ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's like picking bark off a tree, and the end of the video is it actually standing up and stuff, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I have yet to see that one get debunked. And you know what? Like every video I see, like if it gets debunked and the debunking is legitimate, and I'm like, okay, all right, yep, that was fake. Okay, fine. I'll move on. That's it.
I got a question. I don't have much on this subject. That's why I'm rarely quiet, but on this I am. I never believed
Noticed.
in the Bigfoot stuff until I had UFO experiences. Then I was like, okay, I don't think people are lying about, people believe this stuff, obviously. I mean, I don't think there are that many people inventing these stories, but I always wondered if Bigfoot is a creature that, a three-dimensional normal creature, not something like from another dimension. I've always wondered why they've never found like the remains of one or something, Well, and I don't study this, so maybe you could school me here. Is that a question that people address, or
that I actually talked about this the other night with a friend of mine.
Yep.
And finding a body, yes. Why haven't we yet? That is a big question. That is a fair question. The only real argument that I have is that I myself, as well as a lot of people I know, have spent a tremendous amount of time in the woods. And outside of driving down the freeway and seeing dead deer or skunks or possums on the side of the road, when I walk out in the woods, I don't see bodies of anything.
100%, man.
Ever. I've come across the dead body of a deer once when I was out
that
hiking.
makes sense.
It probably was running from a hunter.
Well, it was decomposed. I only noticed it because I saw the rib cages sticking up.
No, that's
So-
good. That's a
so,
good
you know,
answer. That's an
It
answer.
just it's not. If you're out there in the wilderness, you don't come across bodies often at all. And now consider that it's an extremely elusive creature.
Right.
Like, so all of that combined, that's the only argument I have.
I
Is it-
wasn't trying to debunk it. It's just something I'd wondered about,
No, that's a great question because a lot of
I'm
people
glad
ask
you brought that. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that is something I was talking about with someone the other day, and I think that's a very common thing for a lot of people that watch, their local news channels that have their goofy intros with stuff like that. They go, "Oh, why haven't they found a body?" Well, go out into the woods. Tell me how many bodies of squirrels or possums or deer that you find.
Yeah, very, very rare. Yeah.
Go on a hike and you won't find hardly any. Unless you go out constantly, and even then, even if you go out constantly, even if you're an avid hunter, I know a lot of them. I have a deer full of venison, a deer full of venison. Jesus Christ! I have a fridge full of venison right now from a hunter friend that I know, and he rarely sees any dead bodies, and he has told me that he actually may have seen a bipedal creature carry off one of his kills before.
Wow.
So yeah. It's it's yes, the forest. Yes.
Zach summed it up perfectly, man.
That's what it does.
Yeah, the forest is a great
That's it.
composter.
Dude, things
nature.
that die out in the woods are gone in hours.
Yeah. No, that's a good. I'd never thought of that. It's a good point.
Yeah.
With all the creatures that eat, that eat carrion and
I believe they are physical creatures. If they exist, I believe they're physical creatures, and they don't they're not interdimensional or anything like that. But if they are highly intelligent in comparison to other creatures, what if they do have a version at least of burying their dead?
That's Barry's got another. I've got to grab something deep, but Barry's got a kind of a question there, or a point that he makes. That's kind of good. I'll be right back.
Some
Can I get some soup?
there are many reports of people, even in modern day, having killed them and shot those creatures and not report. They will bury it and not report it because they feel like they just killed something that was equivalent to a human, and they get scared about reporting it. There are also many reports long before modern times of Native Americans getting into conflicts with them and things like that. So do I think one has been shot and killed before? If they exist, yeah, for sure.
Well, you think if their population, if they're so elusive because their population is so low, and if one of them dies, you gotta think about how big these areas are. We think the world is so small.
Yep.
Because we can go across the planet in hours, right? We have these great vehicles and everything, and we can transverse long distances in minutes, and
And
we've
that's
made
all, it's all wildly less than 100 years old.
yeah. There's places in the United States that have never had a human foot touching it.
Yes.
So if you take a low population of a creature, put it in a huge area, and one of them dies, you're not going to find a body until it's going to be gone. I mean, honestly, and then Iris has this to say: Bigfoot knows what time of year humans bring their boomsticks into the woods. Probably.
Well, I mean, but
If they're intelligent, which they are, if they're that elusive, and people have had those nasty encounters with these Bigfoot, throwing, bricks at their
rocks. Yep.
Like huge rocks at cabins and shaking the cabins and all of that stuff. Hey, Doug Bradley's here.
Now, but also take into account, like we're talking about something that, much like UFOs, are recorded in every single corner of the globe. Sightings of these things have happened in every single corner of Earth. I don't think there's a continent that these things haven't been reported on.
I've heard that from Bigfoot people that say, hey, they're called different things, Yetis or whatever, but they're seen everywhere. Asia, Europe, whatever.
China has an area that's a protected area for these creatures. Like it's like a they're national forest.
A Bigfoot sanctuary.
Sanctuary. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. Yes, that is 100% true. At least it was at one point in time.
And it's something that I don't know anything about. That's why I love to talk. I haven't said much. I never believed in this stuff, but then I reached a point where so many people have reported them, and it's kind of like UFOs. I mean, the point of lying about it would be what? People are seeing something. Now, what is it? I don't know. I don't think people are making it up. I mean, there are probably some people, just like some people make up UFO stories, I would presume, but I don't think it's many.
And I think there's a ton of people who spend a lot of time in cities, and then they'll go out to the country and see something in the sky and report it and misidentify. Sure. Just like I think there are a lot of people that go out into the wilderness and will see something or be driving on a back road and misidentify it. Tons of a lot of it's misidentification, more than likely.
But what are they seeing that's bipedal and hairy and 8 foot tall? I mean,
well, if someone's never seen a bear walk on 2 feet in person, that could be, because that is pretty jarring when you see it. It's like, whoa.
Oh yeah.
It's
like that bear you ever seen that viral video? I'm eating. I'm sorry. My stomach's upset. It's this crazy topic, but no, it's not the topic. But have you seen that viral video of that bear on the East Coast that was like 4 years ago? But it walked upright around a subdivision for like a week or something. It was crazy.
And then someone killed it.
He's just walking down the road like a dude, man.
Yeah. And he was just like hanging out.
Yeah, but he was walking just like a person.
Yeah. Yes, I have seen. Yeah, and then someone killed it. It was like it became like a little viral thing. Yeah.
Well, Diane says fishermen have said that Bigfoot has took their fish out of their nets in La Push, Washington.
Yep, I've heard of fish out of nets, deers, like I said earlier, deers being drug off, hunt kills kind of thing.
Thank you, Doug Bradley. This is great. This again,
No, yes, exactly. This is
exactly. He says, for people that are listening to this and not watching, he says the First Nation people
No.
don't
agree.
make up stories like that. Well, that's that arrogance that Graham Hancock talks about when it comes to academia, and sitting there and saying your mythology and your stories are wrong. Let us tell you about how these pyramids were built. They were built by slaves. Or let us tell you about who brought technology over to you when you were just little primitive people running around. That self-appointed arrogance to dismiss, because in the modern day now, we don't have evidence and things like that of this stuff. But that's, I had a history professor in college, and he was a great dude. And he said, what this kind of stuff is called presentism. And it's what you see now with the cancel culture. Presentism is basically where you take today's rules and ethics and morals of society, where we're at now in 2023, and then you try to impose them back, 50 years or 100 years or 200 years, and then hold those people who are long gone, or might, some of them might still be around, and you hold those people to account for the 50 years backwards or 100 years backwards, and they call it presentism, and that's exactly what they do to these people's mythologies and stories and stuff.
Yes, that is, and I even roughly alluded to that last night when I was talking about the ghost stuff, and about how like Native American locations with some sort of Native American relevance or First Nation relevance seem to be wildly more active in terms of the paranormal than many other places. And that does include Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it. And they definitely have, I mean, I've heard stories of tribes interacting with tribes of Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? And like there being like an exchange of goods and things like that, and like having a relationship with them. Like,
well, that's just like the Skinwalker, right?
I mean,
Skinwalker stuff. I mean, this is not just known to one tribe, of indigenous people. These were like witches and things.
I think the Skinwalker, and anybody out there that's watching, please correct me if I'm wrong. But my understanding, at least, of the Skinwalker is it's mostly related to Navajo folklore, and it's more supernatural, whereas the Bigfoot is more physical.
Oh yeah,
kind of a thing.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that the stories of skinwalkers are traditions for generations of the Indian tribes, the Native Americans, whether it's Navajo or whatever the case may be. And people will say, no, they never really existed. Well, you have a whole culture of people that will tell you otherwise.
But what Barry's saying right now, what about the millions of trail cams?
I wanted to
all
get
the
to
drone footage we have.
Yeah.
And so if they are,
you got to make sure you back off of that mic a little bit.
About that. If they are, sorry about that. If they are physical, then you kind of wonder why there's not a lot of footage of these things, and why you've never. I don't know, and I do understand what you said, Burton, about you don't see. It seems like they'd have found bones or something, and I'm not saying that I don't believe in it, because so many people say they see these things. I mean, that would be having, what my story is like. It's real crazy with the UFO thing. So I'm very, 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 very reluctant to say somebody's perpetrating a hoax or lying. I think people see things. I struggle with the Bigfoot thing, because I just, like Barry said, it seems like with all the trail cams and somebody
physical evidence
well, it seems like it. It seems like at some point you'd find something. I think that and you can pick it up from here. All that I'm aware of as a guy who doesn't really follow that is I think they've found some footprints and stuff, but have they ever found anything else? Like, I'm wondering.
See, and that's kind of where
Eating.
things go to gray, is because there have, like, oh, okay, well, in I mean, at least in terms of footprints, actually, there have been situations like on Josh Gates's show Destination Fear, when he did the special in the Himalaya mountains. He did find a track of unexplainable footprints that like made the news and stuff like that still hasn't been able to be explained to this day, unless they just faked it, which I don't really see them doing. Maybe I'm wrong. It's TV. You never know.
Right.
Well,
but
I mean, I got to go back to, what Guy was saying and Barry had said too, is it's a big place with a lot of area. It's why you're not going to find footprints all the time, or, or the cameras on trail cams and stuff like that, especially if these things are intelligent. I mean, you do realize like deer can smell hunters coming from miles away and hear them. All these animals out there that are prey animals know when they're being preyed upon. And so they have built-in instincts that their senses are so heightened that they know you're in the woods a mile away before you even think there might be a deer or somebody around. And I think a lot of these things are probably if these things exist, I would imagine that their senses as an animal or a creature that lives in the woods and so isolated that it's going to be happenstance. It's going to be a 1 in a million shot. You just won the lottery that you happen to catch the glimpse of something, which, like Burton was saying, was probably going to be misidentified as a bear or something like that. Because I know when I was a kid, my brothers and we went up to up in very northern Canada, and we went portaging. And portaging is basically where you take a canoe, you throw it in a lake, you paddle across the lake, you go to the next trail, and you portage. It's called a portage to the next lake, and you follow these trails, and I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Nobody's coming to help you out there if something goes wrong. And I'm walking across this 1 mile long portage, and I hear this like thumping, crashing sound off the trail to my right. And it was me and my one nephew. And all I had on me was like a hunting knife and my backpack. And I look over and I see this huge black furry thing ripping bark off of trees.
Wow.
It turned and looked at me. The thing had to be about 8 feet tall, at least.
Damn.
It looked at me and I was like, I dropped the backpack, turned and ran. But when it looked at me, it was a bear. It was a black bear, and it went the other way. It ran the other way. But now imagine if you sneak up on something like that. And I didn't know about Bigfoot. I think I was 12 years old. I knew nothing about this stuff. Now, if I'm walking with a preconceived notion about Bigfoot in my head and I'm out in the middle of nowhere, I mean, I cannot explain how desolate these portages were, and there's nobody around, and the silence is ridiculous. And you come walking around a corner of a trail and you see this 7-8 foot tall black hairy thing ripping bark off a tree. It was using its paws, and it was scenting the tree for its territory. Right? I didn't know any of that, but I didn't think Bigfoot. I saw a bear face and it took off the other way. Thank goodness, but yeah, man. So
another thing to respond to Guy, though, in terms of more physical evidence besides just, well, first of all, the footage that we get, it's as reliable as UFO footage. We don't know. Like it could be somebody in a costume, it could be whatever.
Right.
But in terms of DNA evidence, I think also kind of relates to UFO stuff because I have seen documentaries and things like that of people getting DNA evidence that very prestigious sources that tested it said it's unidentifiable.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw a video recently. It was a chupacabra. You guys have probably seen that. It's on one of those Discovery things or one of those series down in Texas. These guys chased a chupacabra, or this woman. Then a woman found one dead on the road, and she had its hair.
I know
tested.
that story.
You've seen that one, and
Yeah.
like the University of Texas or some big university down there tested it. And I do apologize about the mic. Is my too close?
No, you're fine.
They said it was unidentified. So there's some. To be very scientific about, there's some weird shit out there that we don't know about.
Yes. And
so
is it a Chupacabra? Is it a Bigfoot? At the end of the day, I don't know. All I know is that like there are things that are unidentified. People are seeing these things, whether it be UFOs, Bigfoot, Dogman, whatever. Like people are seeing all this, and there is evidence. And I think at the end of the day, there's a massive, I see that was never that's what people believe the found Chupacabra to be. But that does not match the descriptions that so many people have made.
Not really, no.
Like that's just
that's like a lady.
That's like a yes.
And they tested it, and they said it was a mixture of a Mexican wolf with I forgot what the hell it was.
Yeah,
it was a strange blend of species that should not be making babies.
Not mate, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it was like I thought it was like a coyote with something.
Yeah. A coyote with like a northern Mexican wolf or something like that.
Something
which
crazy,
shouldn't ever have crossed paths.
They were breeds that they said shouldn't be able to crossbreed.
And in fairness, it does have some of the characteristics.
It does.
It does have fangs, like vampire fangs, and it does like suck the blood out of animals. So
and that's what was happening to that woman's ranch.
Yes, those images right there. Yeah, the dead one on the left too. Yes, those. Yeah, same there. So there is clearly a new species that's happening. Is that what? Because a lot of people reported seeing something bipedal, with strange, much like the Dogman. How when people like shine light on it, its eyes reflect yellow. This thing's eyes reflected red. These are things that are found in the animal kingdom that that's all explainable for specific types of animals. So is this thing that I don't know, because like I don't see this thing going bipedal, but either way, I feel like this might be a different kind of thing. Or is it just a crossbreed with mange, and the crossbreed is something we're familiar with? I don't know.
Or a Mexican hairless dog.
Or that, yeah.
Yeah, what Eris says here. I don't Zolo Exitute? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's a Mexican hairless dog.
Well, I mean, I think they ruled that kind of stuff out.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, they did. Yeah,
they said
if that was a species of dog, they would have known it.
Yeah, they said it was known. It was a weird mix of two things, like you said. That I cannot recall the breeds of animals that should not be able to interbreed, like a wolf and a thing, and they don't know how it's possible, and so that's strange. So after the UFO thing, which we're off of UFOs, but whereas I'd been very resistant to believe anything, like cryptids and that sort of thing was like way out to me. Now I'm like, man, anything's possible. So I'm like, and a whole lot of people. I'm like Barry kind of, but Barry's skeptical a bit, but the thing is, an awful lot of people swear they've seen him, and some people say they've seen him, close up, and I'm like,
yeah,
Either a whole
Really
bunch of
close.
people are lying for no gain that I can perceive. So.
Humans are
Yeah,
strange
none of them
creatures.
are. None of them, especially in the cryptid community, are famous. You know,
you
like,
don't get, well, even this stuff, you don't get rich, and there's people that make money. Travis Walton.
no one gets rich for sure.
Travis Walton.
Well, a few people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis Walton. I had a gal in Tennessee want me to come down. She had a MUFON in Tennessee, and I met her, and we used to correspond. And she was muscling me to come to a MUFON meeting down in Tennessee because she was so excited because they were having Travis Walton speak. Right. Well, I've heard his story I've heard his story 1,000 times, and she said to me, we had to pay him a lot of money to come speak. So there's some people do make money at this stuff, but it's like this tiny percentage.
I like Barry's statement here. We
That
can
was
find
funny,
a
Barry.
7-legged spider with 4 eyes in the South American jungle, but we can't find a 400-pound creature in Michigan.
That is a good point.
My friends would have hit
mean,
one with a car right now.
apply that to Bigfoot too.
Call Allstate and tell them about your car. I had a Bigfoot. Yeah, right.
How
There's
many
probably a lot
babies
more of
does a
those
spider
spiders.
have at once? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more of those spiders defined.
That's funny.
So I don't know.
That is
I don't-
funny.
I don't know.
We love you, Barry.
Barry's cool. Let's be honest. You can make a lot of, in my opinion. Let me rephrase that. In my opinion, you can make a lot of arguments against the existence of Bigfoot, more so than you can some other things, I think. But just the sheer number of UFO reports, trace evidence cases where, there's landing marks, there's burned vegetation, people have got implants. There's just so many UFO reports. It's crazy. Bigfoot, not so much, and you can find some issues with it. But at the same time, man, I've learned my lesson about making fun of people for reporting things because let me tell you what, after I had these experiences, on top of having my worldview shattered, it was a lesson, and it humbled me, and it taught me about not to be so quick to, if there's no gain for somebody in something, then most people, the overwhelming majority of people, don't lie, especially about something weird to get attention. So I don't know.
Yep. All right. Well, look, guys, it is 10:03. I got to be up in a few hours to get ready for the kids at school. We've been at this 1 hour and 58 minutes.
Feels like an eternity.
Yeah.
I'd eat a bowl of potatoes.
10 minutes for me.
Yeah. Well, let's I say we didn't even take a 5-minute break in the middle again.
I noticed that.
So
that's why
I don't know. Let's ask the crowd. Yeah. We're going to ask the crowd. Crowd, do you think we should go ahead and wrap this up? Yeah. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to close out the show. Burton, let's start with you. What do you got coming up, man? Your podcast, what's going on? Let's let everybody know what you got going.
Coming up, I have a whole lot to be released on this week for Lost in the Dark podcast. A lot of reaction videos to some new wonderful great bands music videos that were recently released. Earlier tonight, before I started this show, I recorded a brand new episode for Lost in the Dark with my friends all the way from Texas called great band called Scream at the Sky. Everybody be sure to check them out. Scream at the Sky. Great band from Texas. And then in terms of Follow the Reaper, everyone out there listening, if you have any first or secondhand paranormal encounters of your own that you would like featured on a podcast, please reach out to me at Follow the Reaper and check it out.
Charlie,
the next
no.
the next episode of Follow the Reaper will be out this week, and it's a good one. It's got a lot of good stories in it. So everybody, anyone that has a story for me, please be sure to reach out. But yeah, that's what I have.
You can find the links. You can find the links to all of Burton's projects right now down in the show notes. So make sure you follow those links and give them some love on those other podcasts. Even if you're not a metalhead, just go ahead and give them some love anyways. No, Zach, we're not going to go another hour at least.
We love that you want it, though. I love
Yeah.
that you want it.
We're happy that you enjoy the conversations that we have. And,
God bless
this kind of happened out of happenstance, man, to just get the three of us together, and Michelle, when she's here, the four of us together to, have these kind of conversations about, and honestly, it was about, I wanted people to talk about what they thought of the previous podcast, give us some critiques and, things like that we did. And it's now just turned into like this weird variety show. And hey, I'm okay with that.
We need to get like a juggler and a guy on a unicycle. We got everything else. But
Yeah.
I gotta do something because, Charlie's been getting all this press. He's been getting all this. Everybody's mad about Charlie, but I gotta introduce you to Angel. This is her older sister. She's 14. This is Angel. She's kind of blind, but she's a sweetheart. And she was pissed because she heard the stories about Charlie being demanded on the internet. So say goodnight, Angel. She's like, you don't know. She's like,
all right. And Guy, closing statements. You want to get out of here? What do you got going on? And by the way, Diane says, I love hearing stories of all kinds of different stuff. Absolutely. And we're not gonna be one of those groups of people that are gonna dismiss you or rip on you and call you stupid and things like that. That's not what we're gonna do. So
no. I'm not into that at all. That's why I try to back, I
anything coming up on your YouTube channel soon, Guy?
I've been threatening to make a video. I haven't been feeling real good. I wanted to make a short video and include a video that I've shared with you guys on the Facebook group of some stuff filmed behind the house, talking about some electronic weirdness. And then what I really wanted to do was have a live stream with you and Michelle. And I'd love to pull Ed and Alex in. I don't think they'll do it, but mainly you and Michelle. I'd like to do that on my channel.
Yeah.
As far as really immediate goals are, I want to go to my doctor. I want to live another 5 days because then my obit can say he was 71, So February 10th.
Birthday's coming up?
Yep. And,
beautiful.
Happy birthday.
I got to go to the doc this week, but just basically take care of the pups. It's not a lot going on.
Yeah.
What's that? Angel.
So Linda says Angel keeps threatening to use him to sue us for more food.
Yeah. Angel was really upset that she wasn't. I kept telling Charlie, hey, dude, you're a hit on the internet. And he was like, he's a hyper little shit. I mean, the guy, I have to chase him around. We're trying to do this live cast. I can't tell you the things I took out of his mouth. He eats everything. He eats rocks, he eats drywall, and it'll be a miracle if he lives to be one. But basically, I just do these things with you guys and give you my opinions, and I don't know anything. I just know it's been a weird run, and I would very much like to eventually get you guys, you and Michelle anyway, on, and not because I wouldn't love to have Burton, but I know that he's not that interested in, well, he might, but you'd be welcome. We could do a live stream on my channel because I've got about 2,300 subscribers, and we could, you don't have to see a UFO to have a valuable opinion or insight. That's not mandatory. I think
100%.
What the big thing with me is, I feel like it's the people that haven't seen them that need to know, because they're real. And I don't care what anybody says. They're not from here. And that's okay with me. I mean, it's not okay with a lot of people. And it's going to have to get okay, I'm afraid. And maybe, as I always say, maybe I'm dead wrong. But anyway, be nice to each other. Peace. And I'm going to finish my bowl of soup that I kind of munched on while you guys were talking.
Yep. And just for people listening, Michigan UFO Sightings and Paranormal Encounters audio podcast will have a new episode out this weekend which will be the, let me double check, the 11th and 12th of February 2023, where we have on Soraya Azkath from Where Did the Road Go? So that's going to be a great conversation. He's a veteran of the, podcasting universe, and just, been into paranormal things, everything you can think of,
Cool.
for about 10 or 11 years now. So he's been going strong this long doing this stuff, and can't wait to talk to him. I'm sure it's going to be a long, interesting conversation, and maybe we'll get him to jump on the live stream with us one day and have a cool conversation of speculation and information and stories. That'd be really cool. What else do we got going on?
I
think
would
that's really it.
just, is Zach, what was it, Zach that said he had that crazy UFO
Yeah,
experience?
Zach, make sure you email us, man.
Yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
Email us your story, and maybe we can set you up to come on,
Sure.
come on and tell the story yourself if you would like, or just, it's fine. But once again, everybody, thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and get out of here, but please remember, like, share, subscribe, check the links for our different shows that are going on, our websites, our links to merchandise and things like that. So a lot of stuff going on, and we hope that you guys find this interesting, and we're going to go ahead and get out of here. So peace, everybody.
Peace, love, hippie beads.
Yes. All right.
your horns.
All right, you guys.
All right. Thanks a lot, Guy. Thanks a lot, Burton. We're out of here.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Good to see you.